there, we are back today at Culpeper Media Studios, and I'm Samantha with Culpeper County Parks and Recreation. Thank you again for joining us, and let's get started with the next episode of Crafty Creations. I'm thinking bones and skeletons, and keeping in mind that crafts are always something that I think should be easy, low stress, fun, and it really is a nice thing when you can just use what you have around the house, because despite the fact that whether you're an artist or a crafter or someone that just likes to collect art supplies and stuff, that can certainly cost a lot of money and pile up in the room or in the drawers or in the closets. So today we're going to do something that is using the cotton swab. And get yourself, if you don't already have any in your vanity or bathroom or what have you, pick some up the next time you're at the store. Or again, having these things on hand, and you might want to get, just grab maybe 16 to 25. It really depends. This is more than that, but I just kind of like to have them on hand in case I want to do something a little more interesting. But all you need, some black paper, some white paper, although you could use something else different. You need a Sharpie, some good glue. I think I've said before, but turbo tacky glue is really easy to work with. It dries clear and fast, and it's a good adhesion. So, like that. And then the last thing you would need, scissors. Need some scissors, and these are just kind of jewelry cutters, wire cutters. They do really well, I think, to cut the Q-tip. I'll just give you a sample here. But when you're cutting like this, makes it very, very, very easy. So whatever your preference is, you can kind of start thinking about what you're doing. But a dancing skeleton with some glue, some cotton swabs, and if you have copier paper, white paper, you can make the skull face. And that's a lot of fun. Freeform, just cut yourself a skull any way you'd like. And then maybe go ahead and take your Sharpie. And we'll just go ahead and make some eyes, nose. And we're going to go with a frowny face. Frowny skeleton. Let's see. Right. And once you have that accomplished, basically place your skull head or your skull on your paper and start thinking about how you're going to design your rib cage, your arms, your legs, your fingers, and your toes. Now, this is obviously going to be simple, not meant to be, anatomically correct. We do have, for example, 12 pair of rib bones. This guy only has, 4, 8 total. But it just play with it and see what you'd like based on how large your paper or your work surface is and what you want to come up with. And if you want to do everything at one time, obviously, I think the easiest thing to do is rib cage. So get your ribs just by cutting these in half. Oops, that one got away. Let's see here. Hold that down. There we go. And you'll find as you start trimming and cutting that sometimes you can use extra stuff for your fingers and toes. Like, for example, we need a collarbone and we need kind of a pelvic or hip bone. So let's start cutting these off. And when you do that, you've got your fingers and your toes. So that works out great, like this. And then we have another. And I will just speed along by cutting. Try to get things. You need another piece here. Like so. Now again, if you wanted to make this larger, make it any size you'd like, just based on, you know, these are your materials. So with these sticks, you could make it even longer, have more ribs, just depends. But to make it simple, I'm just going to take and make this shape here. And then we can kind of play around with the rib bones. Oops. And place those in like so. Oops. A little bit of glue there, sticky. Okay. All right. Now, let's put our fingers over here. Now we're going to need quite a bit of sticks here to form our legs and our arms. So again, let's just start cutting and trimming here so that you have some of these pieces. We'll do one more. Okay, now for this here, you know, you can try to play around. Now you do have actually the two parts of your leg bones there. Got some knee joints, cartilage and so forth. So you might want to leave the tip on for that, for this second part. I don't know how we want to position them, but we have that so far. Let's put this out of the way. This is kind of a nice thing in terms of how we're going to do this. This could be our feet. And I think we need something else for the remainder of the arm there. And this is essentially what we're looking at, and then you're going to put your fingers here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you want to put digits on for the toes, you can do that as well, or you can just leave it. Whatever suits your fancy. And most of all, I guess once you've collected your middle section, 2 parts of your legs, the 2 parts of your hands and your fingers, you're pretty much done. And as I'm looking here, it's funny, I don't like this face. Let's see, what else can we do here? You can even be silly. I mean, instead of a skull, well, a human skull, maybe you want to do like a monster skull or a cat skull. You could even do a dancing cat, a dancing dog. Same sort of principle. Obviously with the cat it would be vertical and you'd have a couple of ribs hanging down in your 4 feet, and maybe you could put you know, the bone and stuff so that you know it's a cat. Now let's go with I think it's important to be free and to just use the scissors as your guide. Kind of make sort of a bulbous shape when you think of a skull, and then come down like this, round it out. There we go. I like that one much better. Now you don't have to put a face on it, I suppose, if you don't want. I'm going to leave that to the viewer's imagination. But basically, once you have situated everything, you want to start gluing down your items there. And, you know, once you come up with something, I think And it doesn't have to be perfect. Like the head could kind of be this way. Make it whimsical and fun, because I do think that's important. But again, this is what I would do. I would either put it on here and then place it down. And despite the fact that it does dry clear, the neat thing about this is you can take an unused swab and remove the excess glue. Makes that a little neater. But basically this is what you're looking at. I don't know if you can see here. And this is one of ever how many dancing skeletons you'd like to make. Super easy and fun. It's something that kids, particularly if you have a short attention span, you can just whip this together. They can do it, and they've actually got something that they've put together quickly that's complete and fun. You can cut it out. You can use it as decorations, put it on the fridge. Yeah, have fun with it. So the other part of the dancing skeletons is, we're going to put this aside, and I'll show you one other nifty thing. I'll just turn this around like so. Like this. Is you can take something and make what is called a script or name skeleton. And all you're doing is essentially writing your name in cursive on a folded piece of paper. You unfold it so that you have that symmetry, and that is what forms your skeleton. You can see here, this is my name, Samantha. You can kind of see if I have something I can show you. It's, you know, S-A-M-A-N-T-H and A. So let me just quickly show you an easy way of doing that, just so you get the idea. Let's go ahead and do this. Get yourself some paper. Again, it can be any color you want. You make it super colorful. I know in November is kind of the Day of the Dead holiday season to commemorate your loved ones in Mexico. So you can make it colorful with flowers and different things once you have your skeleton in place. But that's what I forgot. Now, ideally, you would want a pencil, which I have a Sharpie here, so I'm going to use that. And what I'm going to do is I'm simply, let's see. Well, let's, I'm just thinking of the name I want to use. I could use mine, or let's see if we use Nicole's. You want to start the N. Now, what you're doing is you're writing the name, and at the very bottom, you're going to, you don't exactly want to cut it off at the bottom where it's creased right here, but come as close to it as you can. And the idea, the idea with the cursive is that you have one continuous line that's going all the way down. Depending on your name and what letters are in your name, you can have little sections where there are gaps that you will cut into, and that's going to give you the holes in the middle that will give some character. So doesn't have to be perfect, but essentially this is where you have to use your imagination. You'll see where I'm coming up here, and this one would have, since there's an O in Nicole, we'll have a center to it. And then pretty much you just want to kind of eyeball it in terms of what it's going to look like at the bottom. Now, this is really small. You could do it really large. That would be great too. Depends on, you know, your preference, your ability, age, things like that. And you're just going to start cutting. Now, if you have it as small as I've made it here, you kind of want to take your time. Get all of those areas. I don't know how many of you still or have practiced cursive, but I think this is kind of a nice little thing to keep that alive, as well as even if it's not quite cursive, the idea of you're having that continuous line, it kind of lends itself to cursive writing. All right. And pencil probably would have been better rather than this dark, thick black line with Sharpie, but that's okay. All right. Now obviously, you don't want to cut down the middle there, but turn it back over. You kind of see where this says Nicole. At any rate, let's see. What we will do is very delicately trace the part of the N that comes up and cut this little piece out like this. I'm trying to move my scissors around here. It's good practice for young ones because this does require a little bit of patience, because you don't just want to go chopping in there and cut it off, because kind of like snowflakes, it's a learning process, and you don't want to destroy your pattern. I'm only going to cut a few pieces in here. It's just so you get the idea. And still have a hole punch, so for the circle in the O, I'm going to punch a little circle in there just for kicks and giggles. So you can see what this looks like. Take your black piece of paper, or whatever paper you may have, cardstock, cardboard, any sort of paper. You're going to unfold like so. And again, I mean, I think this is so cool. Now you can see that the ink bled through, and that kind of takes away from what we're trying to do here. But I think it's neat because you have your rib cage here, you've got your hip bones that kind of protrude out that way. This is where you would take and you can make your skull. You could combine these two things. You could take your not Q-tips, your cotton swabs, and you could make your arms and legs. You can cut them out. Anything you would like to do. I mean, you can even make it abstract. No arms and no legs, just a fancy sort of middle section. And have fun with it. Once you're done, just simply glue everything down. And again, as you can see, you have your shape here. Floral crowns, beautiful, and you know, the heart. Hearts are nice because we think of hearts when we think of our loved ones. So that is pretty much a 2-for-1 dancing skeleton and your name skeleton as well. Let's say dancing bones and name skeleton. There you go. Have fun with it, and again, we want to thank Culpeper Media for all of their help and effort, and Culpeper County Parks and Recreation. We hope you're doing well. We want you to keep in touch, keep in contact this fall. Let us know what you're doing, what you're looking for. Let us know what you think about these crafty tutorials. And speaking of crafty, stay crafty. We'll see you later.